Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Marina Villegas and we are focusing on Martha Stewart for the month of January. Today I'm going to be focusing on her food and entertaining, and actually all week we're going to be doing that. So this is going to be a fun start to the beginning of our week. I have selected two recipes. One is specifically Martha Stewart related, and then the other is not. It is a dinner roll recipe that I did find on TikTok and I wanted to try it. I attempted this at Christmas this year and it did not go well for a couple reasons. I'll get into that when we start making the dough. So if you're looking for the specific recipes, I'll have them shared in the show notes, but we're doing roasted chicken with vegetables and then a salted, I'm removing the honey, but salted honey Parker House rolls. I'm taking the honey out because it's something my baby can't have and I let him eat what we're eating for dinner, so we're gonna skip that part. Unfortunately, it's 4:30. And I tried starting this about an hour and a half ago, but one thing after another. So we are starting it now and hopefully I'll get some food in the oven here ASAP. We're gonna start with the dough first because it takes a while for that to rise. The ingredients are simple, the recipe is difficult, and I will tell you now, I did just now realize that I was using the wrong type of yeast for this recipe, and that might be exactly why it didn't work for me last time. I do have one other speculation though, and I will tell you in a minute. I also want to let you guys know, because I did not create these recipes, I'm not going to share everything exactly here. I'll leave a lot of that in the show notes for those creators to be able to get what credited for their work. So I will show you guys that I'm making it, but I'm not going to tell you exactly all the measurements just because that would be unfair. They want you to start with buttering. This is a 9x13 pan. Okay, last time I tried to make these, I also had the dough rising in a metal pan, and I just think that the metal was too cold, and I don't think that helped. But when my mom was here, she thought it was weird that I set it in the fridge because I was trying to let it finish rising the next day, which is I've heard that that's a pretty common way to do it, and it just didn't work out for me. So, all right, we've got the buttered pan set aside, even though we won't need that for a while. Bread is one of those interesting things that I only really care. I like eating sourdough, but I don't personally have an interest in trying to make sourdough because it's just it feels like so much more work over a lot of time rather than a lot of work in one setting. And I'm kind of more of the latter. Martha always has like a button up on so her sleeves aren't in the way. But this is my vintage men's Gap sweater. So I can't link it for you guys, but I really like how it looks. Feels fitting for this week's theme. All right, let's see. And it is going to be 2 packets of these. And like I said earlier, I discovered that I was using, this is original, and in this lady's recipe she uses, I think it's like Instant is the name. If I don't get these rolls right tonight, I've got 2 more packets of this and I am going to try it again. And then next time I'm ready to make it, I'm going to use the other yeast packets. This yeast wasn't too expensive though, or it wasn't too costly. Like I could probably toss out the other set if it doesn't work. And then just a little bit of salt. All right, we're just mixing that together. I do think the honey makes a difference in how gorgeous the rolls normally look, so that's too bad. Now we're gonna do, this is where I'm nervous, and I'm gonna do it very, very light on the heat. But we're gonna do milk and butter for this next part. Okay, so we're just gonna let these, we're gonna put these in a pot and we're gonna let them get basically just melted and lukewarm. It needs to be not above a certain temperature so that way it doesn't kill the yeast. I made sure the temperature of it was not too hot. I have a thermometer for that. And I think I did that correct last time, but I think the other 2 factors is what killed it. There's the butter. Okay, we're gonna let this melt really quick. Okay, I have the butter melted here, and I have the milk ready, so I'm going to combine them. And then I also have my thermometer to make sure that it is a good temperature. Check the temperature. It does say to make sure the temperature is below 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And right now, we're looking definitely below that. But everything is melted and a nice room temp. We're doing great. Okay. We're almost ready to let the dough rise. I need just the egg yolk. Okay. Egg yolk. Saved it. Look at that. It's weird how eggs are not all the same size and yet we use the same amount for recipes. Probably why sometimes it feels like you really nailed a recipe one time, but maybe the next it didn't go so well. I think last time I also added this to this, and I'm reading now that that's not the order to do it. Okay, we're gonna add this to this, so we do all three at the same time. That sounds wrong. Does anybody ever notice that like people's recipes and then when they do them in instructional videos never really always fully line up? They're like, oh, actually I do it a little differently now than that. And I get it because recipes can take years to develop, but it would just be nice if I could just consistently know the difference, which I think that's why so many people have like their family recipes because they've got the tried and true down, you know? 5 to 7 minutes. We'll come back. Okay, this has been going for about between that 5 to 7 minute mark. I'm going to take my bowl that it's going to rise in. I'm putting a little bit of olive oil in there. And that should be good. All right, and now I'm just gonna transfer it over there. And I am going to handle it to make it, the last time I did this, it was not, I should have formed it a little bit more than I did. So I want to make it look kind of a little more pretty, if you will. Okay. Plopping it in there. All right, now we're gonna cover it and it's gonna chill here for 30 to 45 minutes. So let's set a timer for that so we don't forget. I've got it up here on the counter. And my house is more on the warm side, so I think it'll be okay for 30 minutes instead of 40. I am rushing a little bit. Next, we're gonna do the chicken. I don't think we need the KitchenAid anymore for the chicken, so I'm gonna move that around a little bit. I love the smell of rosemary. It makes me immediately feel like I'm at the zoo. And I know that's probably less appetizing, but it honestly does. I just think it smells so delicious. Okay, I have a whole chicken, a whole stinking chicken. I'm gonna cook this guy. All right, we do the chicken first and then the veggies. So to do that, I'm gonna leave my vegetables on the counter. I do need to do those, but we're gonna focus on getting this in the oven first, which reminds me that we actually need this to be at, I believe, 450. All right, so you guys were with me when I cooked my first Christmas dinner. Let me just say this feels a lot less intimidating now because it's a much smaller bird. And the first one turned out so well. All right, she does the salt and pepper separately. I am doing it all in one because, oh, I should have saved some. Dang it, that's actually literally what I meant to do, save some for the outside. Whoops. Next, we're gonna do a lemon, and my lemons are much smaller than hers, so I'm gonna do 2. Lemon is just one of my absolute favorite flavors. I actually want to make a lemon recipe for the party this weekend. Okay, we're stuffing a whole lemon inside. You know what's fun about this is that, do you guys remember at Christmas, I had planned on doing this herb roasted turkey, and now I'm kind of doing that with the chicken instead, so that's like totally like a fun way to do that. This, I think, is the tailbone, and that's freaking me out a little bit. Okay, we're gonna do one more lemon. I love rosemary. She said 3 cloves of garlic, so I've got my 3 cloves of garlic. I did rosemary, lemon, and now I'm adding the garlic as well. Okay, next she's gonna truss it, and what I learned recently is that when you don't have twine, because that's a common question, that you can cut holes on this side for this leg to go through, and then vice versa. So I'm gonna try it. I'm a little nervous about messing that up. We're just gonna make sure it's in a nice thick-ish location. 1. Guys, this is cool. Okay. Cooking is fun. Do you think I could do that with a turkey? Look at that. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Oh, and then they did say that humanized it way too much for me. The wingspan. That was a little too much. It was a little too much. She said make sure you tuck these underneath. Can I tell you guys a funny story? When I was a kid, like an actual kid, probably 7, 8, I told my sister that she should put butter on her skin because it would help it like a lotion, but like even better. And she was so ingrained in whatever movie she was watching that my parents had like, is it canola? It's not canola. What's that fake butter? We would get it from Costco and it was a different brand and it was this big. I'm not kidding you. Our butter in the fridge was this big. That's how much we used of it as a family of 5. And she like sat in the living room like just bathing in it on her arms and legs. It was so funny. I don't think I ever told her that. Sorry. Love you, sis. Okay. She's basically saying there's no such thing as too little salt. All right. This is what I have, and I think it'll get the job done. I don't have a roasting pan, but I do have a pan with a rack. Okay, we're gonna put this in at the back and this at the front, and we're gonna put it in the oven for 50 minutes. I'm so sorry to my family and to myself that it will be more than an hour until dinner. Okay, I've got the bird in, and I'm gonna check my next steps. I think everything else I have food-wise, it's a little bit of a waiting game, I think. All right, I've got my beets here. We're gonna do a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of salt and pepper. Okay, and then I've got parchment paper and foil, and I think that helps keep it from sticking to itself. And I think she said that takes 30 minutes alone. So now we're gonna put this in the oven. Ooh, it did rise. Look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. This is like really fun. Okay, it says 15 equal pieces. All right, here's half. Half of 15, we want about roughly 7 pieces out of this. Okay, now these need to rise for 30 more minutes. I really hope I did a good job with that one this time, you guys. That's kind of weighing on me. Okay, now we can move on to the rest of the vegetables, and then that's it. All right, now for the rest of the veggies, we've got potatoes and carrots, and she had parsnips in it, but not all the recipes, in my opinion, are equal, and I did not see parsnips on there, so I don't think I've ever de-skinned the carrots like this before, because carrots are so skinny. It kind of always felt like why do it? This is fun though, trying something new and different, and I feel like hopefully I'm really praying. I feel like if I can get the rolls to be right, because good looking bread makes a whole meal look good. Well, and then on top of like the chicken, you guys, I think you saw a little bit of it already. It is roasting, like coloring itself pretty well. Like it's browning really nicely. I don't think I would enjoy being in like the kind of kitchen environment like in the Bear. I don't think anyone would enjoy that pretty much. But my point is, I don't think I would enjoy that kind of environment to be at work in, not like the tension between the people and the orders, but I don't think I would like the way that the kitchens are like cold and sterile, and I get that it makes it like sanitary in addition for your eyes even. It's just like the fluorescent lighting and stainless steel, everything just looks so clean, but I would just be happy to cook like this in a really cute kitchen. And my kitchen's cute, but she could use some love, and I would love to upgrade it in a lot of ways, but just can't get there yet. We've got other things we got to focus on first, and that's okay, because I'm very grateful to have a kitchen. It's kind of funny, like doing this Martha series and learning so much about her. I actually think on her show, I actually think she's less of a perfectionist than I expected based off of what people would say about her, because she so often in her cooking will say like, well, it's not like she spends hours like making sure each piece of carrot is cut perfectly. So in my mind, it's a little bit more go with the flow than what I had expected based off of some of those things. Now, if it's a product and she's a perfectionist about it, I think that's a great thing to be critical of, making sure a product is gonna do right, because gosh, I feel like we've seen so many products get launched out there in the world that could have used some critique and criticism, and you know, those brands just don't always make it because they didn't want to let it get tested that far. Got 10 more minutes with the chicken, and I'm thinking I don't have a meat thermometer. I might let it stay in there for an extra 5 minutes because we opened it so much to put the veggies in there that I think it released potentially a little bit too much of that heat, and I don't want undercooked chicken. And I know dry chicken's not great either, but I would so much rather have it be slightly more dry than slightly underdone. I have that thing with texture where if chicken is underdone, then it tastes too rubbery for me, and it's like ick. It just blah for me. Okay, I've got potatoes that I already cut. I've got the rest of the rosemary I'm going to use in this. And then I also have some lemon left over that I might use. And I'm just going to clean my station really quick. Okay, this recipe also calls for shallots and parsnips. I didn't know I had parsnips, and I actually have an onion intolerance, so I cannot eat onions, shallots, chives. It's like food poisoning for my body, which is very similar to what people I've heard with celiac disease say as well. I can have gluten, but my body cannot be around onions. It's no bueno for me. All right, I'm gonna do some olive oil, some rosemary. I'm gonna save the rest of that for the potatoes, and then some salt and pepper. This is not how Martha does her potatoes. I have less options because I only have one oven. I am who I am. Let's add some more salt and pepper. One thing I learned from Martha today was that she said, if you're lazy, you'll put parchment paper down on your pan. But if you are up for the challenge, that when your potatoes are on the pan without anything extra, that it helps them to brown nicer and gives them a more depth in flavor. I'm learning so much just from like one dinner recipe combination from Martha. Okay, and then let's also just might as well go full send. I have no other need for rosemary this week. And I don't want it to go bad. All right, now we're gonna use a cookie sheet. And you know, I think she does do it down there without it. I'm gonna use parchment paper because personally don't have enough pans. And then we're going to keep all of these potatoes cut side down so that way they get nice and toasted. Guys, we're getting close. We're getting real close. Got 18 minutes left for the dough before we can put that in the oven. Okay, it says 1 more minute on the timer. 1 more minute on the timer for the chicken. I am still afraid of the chicken. I think that these are rising. I am still afraid of the chicken being underdone because that's like, who wants that? So I am gonna add 5 minutes to the timer when that one goes off. It is definitely making smoke though. Can you tell? We don't need any problems in here today. All right, I gotta put this on pause because I think it's about to stop. Chicken's done. Let's get it out. Got all the fans on. Dare I say this is beautiful? Can you guys see this? Okay, let me get plated on something. Guys, it fits perfectly. What? Look at that. Okay, and then when the vegetables are done, I'll stick them in there with everything else. Oh my gosh. Jesus, please let that be cooked all the way. I'm sure it is, but like, you never know. Okay, game plan. Well, I want this to stay warm. Just gonna let it sit in the microwave where it's contained. And then I've got the vegetables in there for another, we're gonna do the amount of time that's left for these to rise. I will then change the temperature here for this and then let them all be in there together. I think the beets gotta stay in there as long as the other ones do. And then this will take 20 minutes. And the dough is looking really good, you guys. Like, it is rising, and I'm so excited to have bigger rolls than the last time. I didn't even show it to you guys at Christmas. They would just whittle, really whittle. I'll start doing the dishes while I wait for that, so I'll come back in a few minutes. These have been setting for 30 minutes. Let's take a look. Okay. I would say these are double. What do you guys think? I would say they're still not quite as tall as I would like, but that it's time. So let's get to it. This is just an egg wash. And then it's only going to take 20 minutes for these. I do wonder if I were to get, the next time I make these, if I were to get the correct yeast from the recipe that I'm using, if that would make a difference. Probably don't want too much of that, I would guess. Okay, I hope that they rise more when they bake. I'm more nervous about this because I've already cooked a larger bird and it didn't fail, but this, Jesus please. Into the oven, 20 minutes. Tomorrow I'm gonna be doing all my cooking during nap time, and then we'll just reheat dinner. Today was Martin Luther King Day, so Max was home, so I was able to start later in the day, and that was just a disadvantage, but we wanted to enjoy our time together while we can. I love spending time with my husband. We really are like very close, and I love that about our relationship, that we enjoy being together. I think that's a lot of the point of marriage, and I think that's something that people miss. I'm gonna go check on them. Be right back. The rolls are about to get pulled out. So excited. So excited! Oh, snap. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You guys. They're so puffy. I don't have an extra mitt. But look at how well these have risen. I only have coarse salt. I don't have flaky. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Let's put it all together. Okay, I have perfect, well, pretty dang good looking rolls. I have roasted veggies these are potatoes, carrots, and beets. I've never done beets before, never done bread, and a whole roasted chicken, which I've also never done before. And these are Martha's recipes here, and this is another recipe I found online. I will share them for you guys in the show notes. I hope you guys like this dinner. I can't wait to make dinner again tomorrow. This is so much fun. I've been looking forward to this for weeks, honestly, so I'm definitely enjoying this portion of the series, and now I'm gonna eat. So let's plate it up.